Hi everyone and welcome to today's reading comprehension lesson. The text is Icarus and Daedalus, a Greek myth, and the focus is vocabulary and orientation. So a bit of thinking time, and you're going to think all the way back to year 3. You studied the ancient Greeks as one of your topics in year 3. So what I would like you to do now is just have a pause and think about what you can remember about the ancient Greeks, and do you know any of their myths and legends? Pause now and just have a think. Right then, hopefully that's jogged a little bit of your memory. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read the text, Icarus and Daedalus, a Greek myth. So, as prisoners of King Minos, Daedalus and his son Icarus were trapped on the beautiful island of Crete, like songbirds trapped in a golden cage. And like caged birds, they watched with envy. Those who could come and go as they pleased. One day as the sun began to go to sleep and the moon began to wake up, Daedalus looked towards the heavens and watched the birds as they danced in the wind that carried them. Suddenly, the seed of an idea was planted, and it wasn't long before it began to grow. Night after night the two prisoners searched the dusty ground for feathers long forgotten by the birds. Each night they did this, and when the pile had grown large enough, Daedalus set to work. As Icarus slept, Daedalus sewed the feathers onto 4 large pieces of cloth, sealing them with wax to hold them in place. At last their freedom was in sight. As dawn stretched her arms, Daedalus walked with his son to the tops of the cliffs and looked out towards the Mediterranean Sea. A soft breeze ruffled their hair and stroked their wings. Remember, even the birds can't shake hands with the gods, Daedalus warned. But Icarus did not listen to the words of his father. Daedalus stepped off the cliff edge. Icarus followed. Like eagles, they soared into the air. "We're free, father," squawked Icarus. "We can do anything we want." "Remember, even the birds can't kiss the sun," Daedalus warned. But Icarus didn't listen to the words of his father. By now it was noon, and the sun was very hot. As Icarus climbed higher and higher, the wax that held his wings together began to drip, drip, drip. Soon rivers of wax flowed down Icarus's arms, and his feathers began to fall like tears from the sky. Icarus plummeted into the ocean, and the waves swallowed him up. Daedalus could only watch in horror as he saw his son fall like a stone to his death. "If only you'd listened to me," he wept as his heart was forever broken in two. So, your vocabulary today. Prisoners, beautiful, envy, heavens, suddenly, sewed, wax, cliffs, Mediterranean Sea, breeze, ruffled, soared, squawked, and plummeted. So your task is as it normally would be. It is to match the keywords to their meanings. You know how this is. There should be a sheet in your pack to allow you to do that. Pause now and have a go. Right then, your answers. So it is A14, B1, C9, D6, E2, F4, G13, H5, I12, J3, K11, L7, M8, and N10. So a bit of a geography note here, just to show you where we're looking. If you look at the small map, the one that says Europe, you can see where Britain is, where the island off the coast of Europe. And if you can see where that red square is, that shows you the location of the country of Greece. I have circled the island of Crete, and that's where this story is set. So read the text, highlight any keywords and discuss. And what we're going to have a look at now is a gist of the text. So what is the text actually on about? What's its purpose? What's its job? Pause now and have a think. So the gist of the text is an ancient Greek myth about listening to advice from your elders. Okay, obviously Icarus did not listen to Daedalus. He went far too close to the sun. His wax melted, his wings collapsed, and he died as a result of it. So it's about listening to advice that is being given to you. A reminder of our question stems. These are important because it tells us what we're looking for in an answer. So who the answer is going to be a person's name, what the answer is going to be an object, thing, or an event, when, well, the answer is going to be a time reference of some kind, where the answer will be a location or place, why the answer will require some form of explanation. Who, what, when, and where you can have as literal questions. Why is always inference and deduction because it requires a little bit more detail and thought. So focus questions. What was happening to the wax when Icarus flew closer to the sun? And the second question is, what time of day did the sun get very hot? Pause now and have a go at those questions. Right, so the first question was, what was happening to the wax when Icarus flew closer to the sun? Well, it was slowly melting from a solid into a liquid, so a bit of science in there for you. What time of day did the sun get very hot? Noon, that was midday, 12 o'clock dinner time. So your tasks, your task here is to complete the orientation sheet. So it's what happened when Icarus flew higher and higher. Where did Icarus and Daedalus live? What was used to hold the feathers in place? Which simile, that's as or like word, describes how they flew in the air? And who fell to his death like a stone? And where did they search for feathers night after night? Good luck. See you tomorrow.